the path unwinding, in the circle of life. Some of us fall by the wayside. Some of us soar to the stars. And some of us sail through our troubles. And some have to live with the scars. There's far too much to take in here. These are the lyrics I don't know. More to find than can ever be found. But the sun rolling high in the sapphire sky, keep bright and small on the endless round, in the circle of life. It's it's the it's the band of hope till we find our place on the wheel unwinding, in the circle of life. Thank you. So that key is great.
Good.
It's a teeny reach,
You know
but
what?
we can't come down a quarter tone.
Nice try, but no. Oh, that's funny.
Okay.
Like, if it was anything but a quarter tone, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
No, it sounds really nice in that key.
Well, thank you. And actually, I felt good about the mic.
Okay, my frustration needs to take a back seat.
Okay.
Okay,
We
so
don't really have to do gentle angry.
you don't feel that?
No,
Okay.
because that's so, it's easy. It's definitely in my range, etc.
Okay.
You need, and also I didn't come up with offertory thing.
That's fine.
Okay. So if you need,
I think
you
she
go
put
and do
in
it.
one voice by, I think we have an ensemble thing that she's posted.
Thank
Perfect.
you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Yes. All right, women. The other thing that's happening today, so I don't know how comfortable you are.
Are you guys going to sound check? Okay. At some point, I also want to test out briefly the piano by itself.
Okay.
Having issues capturing it.
Really? Yeah?
Well, the piano mics. I don't like the piano mic.
Amen, brother.
It's actually also an induction mic directly beside that induction loop for hearing aids.
Yeah, so that's not helpful.
No.
So it interferes with each other? Is that what you're saying?
It causes feedback. The majority of the time when you hear feedback, it's the piano.
Is there any way to separate?
So, like, it's the type of, it's the induction, it's the mic itself being directly beside the other.
That's what I mean. Like, is there any way of separating that?
Get a different mic that is an induction. So you go to a different.
Okay.
fine being on the left here? All right, can I see your height here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I almost got it.
Yeah, it's close. Beautiful. Excellent.
All right, and I'm gonna have to adjust your mic between songs here.
Okay. Does that come off, or is that it?
What do you mean?
The tip.
Yeah, it's a pop filter. So if you do a lot of pop in your voice, it helps.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Interesting.
yeah, Beverly prefers it because she's a very like pop-esque singer.
Oh, yeah. Pop-esque. Very cool, Josh. It's so wonderful to see you so involved in this stuff. Hello.
I'm trying to remember where she put it in. I believe she put my best.
Congratulations, by the way, Mr. Chessmaster. So you got first for grade 9s, was that it?
But Sia Hamba seems to be the more challenging one here, maybe?
Oh, okay. So
I don't know.
Jean got first.
Maybe.
Twice for sure. For my tongue
Right.
is getting around. I feel like I'm.
Well, this is one that I wouldn't mind having. The third page.
It was.
Yeah. Oh, is it drooping?
It was, but I think I've got it tight enough.
Oh, you get the droopy one.
Oh no.
The one where I used to follow
Yeah.
down with the piano. By the end of the service, I was like leaning over.
Is that just how you play now without the mic too? You just
Just
sort
for
of,
now. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if you see me leaning, you know why. So wonderful women, thank you for doing this. This is
Catherine, I
lovely.
don't know if you noticed, but there are all of these additional. Are we going to do them? How many do we want to do? Lots of stuff going on. We'll just do them. Marching? Yeah.
So how many verses
So
are we
we
doing?
were just trying to figure that out. 3?
Yeah,
Singing, dancing, marching, singing, dancing. Well, that's 4 then, because we're doing the Zulu, right? Right. And then marching, and then.
And then actually, how about we make it nice and tight? So you start with Zulu, right?
Zulu?
Then do
Marching.
marching, singing, dancing, and then go back to the Zulu.
Okay. So that's going to be 5 then. 1, 2,
Just go with it,
3,
Catherine.
4. Yeah.
I'm just joking. That
There we
was
go.
a joke.
But the other one was instead of the light of God, the light of truth. Nope, it's staying the way it is. I'm not changing it.
Okay. So what do you need for me to start? Do you need bars ahead? Do you just need your notes? Do you need a count in?
Why don't we? That's all we need, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Sia hamba kukanyana kwekos, sia hamba kukanyana kwekos, sia hamba kukanyana kwekos, sia hamba kukanyana kwekos, sia hamba, sia hamba, sia hamba kukanyana kwekos, sia hamba, sia hamba, sia hamba, sia hamba Cook and Yanquan Coast. We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching, we are marching, we are marching, we are marching, we are marching in the light of God, light of God. We are marching, we are marching, we are marching, we are marching, we are marching in the light of God. We are singing 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 in the light of God. We are singing, we are singing, we are singing, we are singing, we are singing in the light of God, of God. We are singing, we are singing, we are singing, we are singing, we are singing in the light of God. We are dancing 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 in the light of God. Sia hamba, simba, sia hamba.
No, it's okay. Okay, yeah.
We are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing, oh, we are dancing in the light of God. And then we do the sia hamba attack again. Okay. Yeah, good, cool. That's cool, eh? I feel like bouncing.
It's hard
I
not to.
was wondering if, and I was thinking about this all week, whether, since the children are here, like I'm not going to change it now, but whether I should have done Sia Hamba first, and then the gray hymnal one after. I didn't think about it. I was just thinking in terms of the.
With the kids
If
here.
you want to, like, I'm open to that. It's really the slideshow and all that other fun stuff.
That's not.
Was that too fast? Do you want me to
No.
slow it down?
Oh, yeah?
Just a wee bit.
Yeah.
Just a wee bit.
But it's the kind of song that is forgiving because if we,
So what do you,
because I'll follow you. Although I would like to see you.
which
Yeah.
would you rather do? Would you rather, like, well, I guess we can do both. We would be one? Or,
I would rather do the Google Home. We know we would be one. We just have to get this from you, I think. Where do you want to get
I
this?
take that one very sort of,
Boat home. Both need to be singing this then. It's going to be unison. And unless I can, like, I still have this urge to do a harmony.
If you can find one. Where do you feel? Where do you feel a harmony?
See right here. See this note, for example?
That would make sense because it's at the end of the verse,
yeah.
right? Or
And then I would probably be singing somewhere in here. I don't know. Like I usually try go maybe like a third below. And it would differ. I don't know enough about. I can't figure out at this point where I would go, but
you want to just try?
I certainly wouldn't want to screw it up.
It's up to you.
Well,
if you want to just at the end of the verse and the end of the chorus, that last
I was
two
just going to
bars.
say that I slip into harmony sometime, and in this
Okay,
piece,
that's
but
fine.
not always.
That's fine.
I usually sing
I,
a melody.
I think the key is like whatever you're comfortable with. Let's not reinvent the wheel. So if you're comfortable going into harmony, go into
Just
harmony.
in
That's
spots.
fine. That's
Just-
fine.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Because you got the melody. Do you need to go through the other verses for words? Are we good?
No, I should try. You can just read them.
All right. Just don't want anybody
Did
to
you rehearse
panic.
yesterday?
The band? No, Greg couldn't get out.
I was following the emails. I was wondering if, or the
Yeah,
text. I was
he-
wondering if he was going to be able to get out.
He couldn't.
He was sitting over there.
Would
He
you
probably
like?
thinks you're done with him.
Would you like
he was
the
singing.
piano again? Do you need some piano?
Okay, so
I'll practice.
From the day we arrive on the planet and blinking set into the sun, there's more to be seen than can ever be seen, more to do than can ever be done. Some say eat or be eaten, some say live and let live, but all are agreed as we join the stampede, you can never take more than you give in the circle of life. It's the wheel of fortune, it's the leap of faith, it's the band of hope, till we find our way on the path unwinding. It's the circle of life. Some of us fall by the wayside, and some of us soar to the stars, and some of us sail through our troubles, and some have to live with the scars. There is more to take in here than can ever be known, but the sun-dappled sky in the sapphire sky keeps great and small on the endless round in the circle of life. It's the wheel of fortune, it's the leap of faith, it's the band of hope, till we find our place on the path unwinding. It's the circle of life.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. My name is Reverend Jamie Boyce. My pronouns are she, her, and I have the great privilege of serving this congregation as its interim minister. We are delighted that you are joining us this morning here in the sanctuary and online in our community beyond our building. We invite gratitude into our morning with appreciation for the Sunday morning service team. Today we are joined by Mary Ellen Scanlon, Jean Jacobs, and Beverly Horton, who are each sharing reflections from our workshop this weekend. Our music ministry, with Director of Music Ministries Rachel Derry, along with Stephen Atkinson and Beverly Horton and Catherine Cowley. And Tim Versteeg, our religious educator, is going to share a wonderful story with us. And of course, our tech team today, Josh McIntyre, Chase Tapley, John Elliott, and our support services manager, Chris McCoy, who is joining us online in our Vimeo community. Our ushers today are Barb Wallace and Elizabeth Beckett, with Sue Johnston and Ian Johnston, who are our worship associates who set up this beautiful space for us today. We are grateful for your care and commitment to our beloved community. As you might have guessed, today I am also serving as your worship leader, as your service leader, which means I get to share all the wonderful announcements and events of our congregation. Today in the sanctuary, after the visitor and today after service in the sanctuary here, the visitor and congregational engagement team invite those new to our community, friends familiar with us, and anyone who would like to practice the art of hospitality to our monthly meet and greet. Today, the president of our congregation, Barb Wallace, will also join the conversation. And then I know we have an announcement from one of our music ministers today.
Yes, music down, fingers up for counting on. Because I am one of the lead cashiers, Chris Ewing-Weiss, come up please. There are two of us, Chris and I, are lead cashiers, which only means that we organize it and we do the deposits, we go to the bank. But we can't do the work without somebody else, because we have to have two people counting the money, right? That's safety, security. So we can't do our work unless we have an assistant. Frequently, Chris and I have been counting together recently because we're down to one assistant, thank goodness, who's away sometimes, including right now. And I just have to shout out one person. I don't see Kathy Brown here, but she just stepped down after 8 or more years being a cashier assistant. And more power to you, Kathy, if you're listening. And we've had other assistants as well. It's just she recently had to step down. So we really need people who would assist us as cashiers. It's an every 2-week or every 4-week commitment, depending. It's not every 2 weeks for you. It can be at 2 weeks in 1 month, but most of the time it's 1 week a month, usually in an afternoon, recently Thursday or Friday. And we organize it. If you like counting money, some people like counting money. I like counting money, especially not my own money. If you like counting money, you can add up things, and you do need to have a criminal record check for this position, and you need to have been a member of the church long enough so that we know you. You can speak to Chris or I, or you can contact the office and they'll get a message to Chris or I if you're interested in joining us. It would be great to have 2 more people to help us out. We think we have a new person maybe. It'd be great even to have another 1 or 2 from there. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
And I'll share that you also are here during times that are convenient for you, right? So that's an extra bonus. A reminder to our members, and it's a question. Have you sent in your nominations for the search for a new settled minister task force yet? Have you sent it in? Because it's time. If you haven't, go back to the email sent earlier this week and follow the instructions. We hope to hear from everyone by March 15th so that we can move forward with the process for selecting the task force for your next settled minister. That's pretty exciting stuff, actually, isn't it? If you have any questions, you can talk to one of the board members. We have several here today. There's Sue Stewart-Green, Barb Wallace, Mary's here, Martin's here, and Leslie. Thank you, Leslie. Time for new glasses. Talk with the board member. Our tech team you've heard us sing the praises of our tech team because they are fundamental to our ministry, essential to our ministries here at First Hamilton. And towards that end of improving and increasing our capacity, the AV Tech Team is offering a course, the Tech Team from the Ground Up, to be held on the sanctuary the Sundays of April 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd. It's an opportunity to get involved and serve this ministry of our congregation. Everyone is welcome. Maybe 15 and above in terms of age, no experience, or sound production roles, and maybe comfortable with some movement as well. But you can check in with our tech team or Chris McCoy, and if you're interested in that. It's actually a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun here on Sunday mornings, and our tech team is always growing their skill set. So Thank you. Two more announcements. If you are excited by the work we're doing around the 8th principle, and you would like to learn more or join the conversation with more intensity, I invite you to join Tim and I for a small group session, 5 sessions, where we will discuss the book Frequently Asked White Questions, which is a primer for white folks to consider as they're exploring anti-racism, anti-oppression work. We have a few copies of the book left. We're happy to hand those out after service. The first sessions will be on Zoom on Tuesday evenings, and then later in the spring, we'll have in-person sessions. So check in with Tim or myself. Finally, if you haven't signed up to participate in a wisdom circle, gathering our stories with the transition team, we encourage you to join us. This is part of the interim ministry process and supports the calling of your next settled minister. It doesn't matter if you've been with us a short time or a long time, we want to hear from you. The link to register is in the All Church email, and Chris will drop it in the chat for our online community, and there's a few sign-up sheets in the foyer today. We have both Zoom sessions and in-person sessions available. I feel like I missed something, maybe. Oh, yes, we do have a service dog in a service dog in training. Yes. Finally, really finally, the March 19th service will reflect on the world of fast fashion in conjunction with the theme. We invite the congregation to bring donations of spring and summer clothing to church that day. The donations will be delivered to Eva Rothwell Center. Please ensure that clothing is clean and in good condition. Now let us breathe. Let us light the chalice, the fire of our faith, with the reminder this morning that we are living the beloved community, a legacy of love and justice exemplified by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose dream for the world was a place where all people share in wealth, a place where poverty, hunger, and homelessness will not be tolerated, a place where racism and all forms of discrimination, bigotry, and prejudice are transformed into communities of connection, care, and love. A place where militarism and abuse of power is unacceptable. A place where love and trust will triumph over fear and hatred. A place where peace and justice prevail. May our time together this morning restore our commitment, nourish our bodies, and bring our presence to being the beloved community. Let us take a breath together and say, may this flame be our light of friendship and love. Today, this morning, we gather to reflect on the lessons and learnings of building a culture of inclusion. Over 40 of us participated in a workshop with Paula Cole-Jones this weekend to learn about the history and the call of the 8th principle in our faith. We gathered to deepen our understanding of what it will mean to live in a community of communities and consider critically the work ahead of us. At the core of our serious and intense work was a celebration of the promise of our faith in the future as multicultural spaces, spiritually alive, that are putting our faith into action in the world. Places of deep and powerful belonging. Today, at this service, we will celebrate the time we spent reflecting and learning and share a few insights that we gathered along the way. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. Let us open our hearts and minds as we gather to worship on this glorious day. I invite us to welcome each other to this wonderful morning and to greet our neighbors. Perhaps turn to them, place your hand on your heart and say, "I'm glad you're here." For those joining us online, I welcome you to invite each other and welcome each other in the chat. Please rise as you are willing and able to sing our first hymn, number 318, "We Would Be One." The words will appear behind.
We would be one as now we join in singing our hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew to live like lives of great understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service, with love and justice, strive to make us free.
Good morning. My name is Tim Versteeg, and it is my great joy and privilege to be the religious educator of the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. This morning, following the Story for All Ages and a short reflection on the workshop by myself, we will be
asking children, youth, and their parents, and inviting them to join us in Fellowship Hall for our monthly family worship, where we will be reenacting the story Stone Soup, among other fun activities. So that should be a fun morning. Our story for all ages this morning is called Intersection Allies. We Make Room for All, and it's written by Chelsea Johnson, Latoya Council, and Carolyn Chow. The illustrations are by Ashley Seal Smith. Witness the lives of a bold group of friends. If one is in need, another defends. Oops. I'm watching a screen here, and there's a screen behind me. And there's a delay between the two. If one is in need, another defends. Age is one trait that each of them share, but kids' lives are unique, as you'll soon be aware. Each child has a story in their own point of view, filled with passion and power, just like you. My name is Alejandra, but I go by Ali. I use a chair, but it doesn't define me. Instead, it allows me to zip, glide, and play. When I need to get through, friends help make a way. Where there's room for some, we make room for all. Friends can be allies, no matter how small. Hello, I'm Parker. After school every day, Ali's family takes care of us both while we play. Her mom works hard to provide for me. Her love's the source of our stability. Not toys or money, nor treasures untold. Community care is more precious than gold. Skirts and frills are cute, I suppose, but my superhero cape is more Kate than those bows. Some may be confused that a kid like me can wear what I want and be proud and carefree. My friends defend my choices in place. A bathroom, like all rooms, should be a safe space. My name is Adila, and just like Kate, what I wear inspires seemingly endless debate. Some give, some chant, some sing, some pray. My hijab is my choice. You can choose your own way. The clothes that you wear will never justify hatred. Clothes can be playful, simple, or sacred, covered, adorned, or with casual flair. My body's my own. I dress it with care. My name is Nia, and what's on the news? It's easy to be frightened or sing the blues. For her, for them, for him, and for me, we all deserve to breathe and be free. The color of our skin is no reason to hide. We protest for safety, equality, and pride. Our friends join along in solidarity and love. This is the stuff that allies are made of. Safety also includes our trees and air, the land we've called home, our places of prayer. I am Dakota, and like my ancestors, my tribe and I are water protectors. From profit and power, we stand up to preserve our nations, our cultures, and the respect we deserve. My name is Gloria, y tengo 7 años. After school, it's to Fruteria I go. Trabajo cada día junto a mi madre. Vendemos pina dulce y mangos con chile. My language and savvy allow us to thrive. I've got hopes and dreams and skills and drive. Working together makes us both more secure. I'm a daughter, a partner, and an entrepreneur. My name is Hee-jung, and I was born in Seoul. I moved here when I was 5 years old. I'm part of what's called the 1.5 generation. My parents and I span 2 different nations. Like Gloria, I am a help to my mother by translating for her one word to another. When the landlord tells Mom, you can pay me next Friday, I repeat in Korean, Omorentu dayam ju gimyoar nedo donede. We navigate life in our new home together because kids have the skills to make every day better. My name is Yuri, and I'm new to this place. Heejung's family welcomed me with love and with grace. Finding refuge meant traveling far from home. I sailed, I flew, I rode, and I roamed, escaping violence, war, heartache, and intrusion. We came to this nation seeking dreams and inclusion. From near, from far, from here, from there, we're more than our origins. We all deserve care. Race, religion, citizenship, class, and ability, each of these intersects to form identity. Age, gender, size, and skin color, too, can make living life different for a friend than for you. Barriers and biases are often to blame. We strive to be equal, but not all the same. Life's ups and downs can take many forms. By standing together, we'll rewrite the norms. Where there's room for some, we make room for all. Friends can be allies, no matter how small. That's the end of our story this morning. As Reverend Jamie already mentioned, about 40 congregants and staff members met Friday night and yesterday afternoon on Zoom to engage in a conversation about building a culture of inclusion facilitated by Dr. Paula Cole-Jones, a renowned UU leader who has been instrumental in both 8th Principle development and the recent Article 2 task force in the Unitarian Universalist Association. And Dr. Jones challenged us to think about changing our fundamental paradigms about how we see church, to move from an image of church as family to one of church as a community of communities, a big tent where we all are welcome, yet are still parts of smaller communities within its structure. We may belong to more than one community in our church. We all have multifaceted and fluid identities. Quite the opposite of silos, these communities need to build bridges between them in order to co-create, collaborate, and participate in shared ministry with each other if we are to build the beloved community, which is our goal. Yesterday, we were placed in groups reflecting our main church community and asked to consider our progress according to two key goals of inclusive community: to be truly multicultural and to be multi-generational in our church. Dr. Jones emphasizes that these go hand in hand. Such change is both incremental and aspirational, but we must make the choice to welcome it if we are to live our mission and have a vision that lives into the future. And the promise of that future is contingent upon all ages in our congregation. For that to work, we have to keep our common good in mind. Our first principle of inherent worth and dignity must extend not only to individuals, but the inherent worth and dignity of each community, each nurturing and supporting the other communities in our church. So, as religious educator, I'd like to ask you this morning, what role can the communities you belong to in our church have in the ministry of multi-generational inclusion? Are there actions you can take and bridges you can build? How are you welcoming new children, youth, and families into our community and supporting those who are already here? Choosing paths to full inclusivity will ask us collectively to use humility, empathy, and respect. But most importantly, perhaps, it will require the courage to change. And I think Rachel is going to play us our departing song, and if Jamie will grab our chalice, I invite children, youth, families, members to join us in Fellowship Hall for our family worship today.
wondering if any of you believe in lucky accidents. Maybe? Yeah? Yeah? Lucky accidents, serendipity, uncanny coincidence. As Rachel and I were preparing for service, I said, I think today I'm going to forget something. And I did. But as I was pausing in my forgetfulness, I realized that I had an opportunity to share what I forgot as a prayer. I forgot to offer our land acknowledgement this morning at our start of service. And so today I offer it as part of our meditation. And this is a land acknowledgement that I shared during our time with Paula Cole-Jones, and it was one that I wrote and speaks to my heart about this work of acknowledging our place. I acknowledge the city of Hamilton is situated upon the ancestral land of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, Mississaugas people on Treaty 3 territory. This land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe to share and care for the land and life of the Great Lakes. As an uninvited guest on these shores, I benefit from a legacy of colonial violence against people and the earth. As an uninvited guest, I inhabit a living commitment to caring for creation with reverence for the interdependence of earth and all her inhabitants. I invite you to join me in that commitment. It feels powerful for me to share that with you during the time of meditation and reflection because it is so deeply personal for me. And I hope that all of us on our journey of acknowledging place and space and history can anchor in to that feeling of vulnerability. The meditation I chose for today is a metta-meditation from Plum Village. It is sometimes translated as a loving kindness meditation. And as I share the phrases with you, perhaps we can measure each phrase with our breath and discover peace and connection among us. Let us settle into our seat. Notice our feet. Feel our hands. Discover our breath, its gentle movement, the way it touches our nose and sinks into our belly. May I be filled with love and kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May you be filled with love and kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. May we be filled with love and kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. May there be peace in our hearts and peace in the world. I invite you, as you are called, to light the candles of community. Perhaps you are holding a sorrow today. Perhaps you are holding a sadness, a longing, a wish, a hope, a joy. The candles of community hold all of us in their light. Now is the time in our service where we share the joys and sorrows of community. If you have a joy or sorrow to share on a Sunday morning, you can always stop by the desk with a little red candle calling you towards it and leave your joy and sorrow there for sharing at Sunday service, or you can click on the Joys and Sorrows button on the front page of our website, and that will get to us quickly so we can share it in the morning. This morning, I have a sorrow to share. On Tuesday, our dear friend and beloved among us, Pat Weber, is moving to BC to be with family. Pat has asked that we hold her in our hearts today. She knows that there are many among us who wish to call and visit and say goodbye, but she asks that we hold on to that so she may focus her energy on her health at this time of change. When we spoke this past week, Pat shared with me that one of her most favorite hymns is Blue Boat Home. Today, I thought we might sing Blue Boat Home, especially for Pat, and wish her safe and happy travels in song and in spirit. So, if you have a teal hymnal at your disposal, it's 1064. We will have hymn leaders. This is impromptu, so I know the tech team is looking at me like, what? I get it. We have a teal hymnal. Please rise and let us sing full of spirit one of Pat Weber's most favorite songs.
Still our dry land
that, we wish you well and hold you in our hearts as we remember that time and place can never separate true friends. I hope you hear the song of our community singing to you loud and clear. We know that there are joys and sorrows among us that are too tender yet to share. And we hold those in the presence of beloved community. Yes, we do. And when the time is right, we are here for you. I think I'm going to invite Jean Jacobs.
Decided to make a concerted effort to talk into this thing because I don't seem that I am able to do that. So can I move this down, Josh? Can I adjust it a little bit? Maybe that'll make a difference. So I attended the workshop this past weekend that Tim referenced, and I wanted to speak to it a little bit to you today. So one of the things that happened to me with this weekend is that it contributed to my awareness of where I am in my understanding of multiculturalism and inclusivity. These words require careful examination before we can begin to use the eighth principle. Certainly it applies to me. The workshop reminded me of the work I need to do to fully understand the word multiculturalism and the related eighth principle embodying inclusivity. And I expect that I'm not alone in this journey. Multiculturalism, as I've come to know it through my professional life, has been closely related to politics and the politics of difference, which share a commitment to revaluing disrespected identities and changing institutions and behaviors that marginalize certain groups. We often think of this in our Canadian notion of the word, but it also includes economic interests and political power. It requires the remodeling of economic and political disadvantages that people suffer as a result of their marginalized group identity. In addition, I believe that the marginalized group identity needs to be more broadly interpreted than many of us think. I think it needs to include not just, it needs to go beyond the lines of race, color, ethnicity, language, and gender, but needs to include all those living on the margins. For example, all people with disabilities. Over 43.4% of us seniors, are going to be living with disabilities. It's a fact that we often ignore. Also includes those who are financially disadvantaged, and particularly young adults who are struggling to find their place in the changing world. The formation of my understanding of these things come from my colonial white social economic privilege. How can I begin to build on inclusivity without working on unraveling these foundations, or putting it another way, changing the lenses in my glasses? So the next aha moment that came out of that workshop yesterday was a need to look at what inclusivity means to me and look at how I demonstrate it. I think I often feel that I'm an inclusive human being, but then I catch myself and I realize that, I'm not really quite doing what I think I am. So lastly, the prospect of changing our traditional operational model to one of many communities within the whole, in which a large variety of needs are met, where divergent interests are embraced with decision-making and communication traveling in all directions, is exciting to me. I've been a part of something like that before. It's a bit of a challenge, but it's something that makes for a much larger community and a much larger sense of belonging. There is a risk of getting caught up in the process, and not achieving the goals. But I can tell you that there are models out there that can help along the way. Ultimately, the community of communities, rather than an hierarchical top-down, is a way to be inclusive, supportive, and to extend into the broader community where everyone has a sense of belonging and contributing to the larger whole. To me, this looks like the way forward to expand our First Unitarian community. Thank you.
I too attended the workshop on Friday and Saturday, and what's easiest for me is to filter my learnings through music. So I want to say a couple things. Yeah, sorry. I want to mention a couple things. So one of the concepts that Dr. Jones talked about yesterday was the shift from a dominant paradigm that's focused on the I or the we, or the I or the me, and shifting to the community of communities model that's focused on the we. She didn't use that me and we language, but it resonated for me. The song that we just sang, and I wasn't going to say this because I didn't know we were doing Blue Boat Home, but there's a me to we story that I have that's related to that. A few years ago, a dear friend of mine, Lyle, jeez. Lyle Franklin passed, and he had asked me before, a couple months before, he said, would you and Rachel sing Blue Boat Home for me? We said, sure. So we got there, we were all ready to do the song, and we were about halfway through, and we couldn't sing anymore. And in the silence, everybody who was at the memorial service started to sing Blue Boat Home. It was gorgeous. It was amazing. In choir, about 2 years ago, a couple times, it's okay. A couple times, it'll dry on its own. A couple times we've sung a song called All Lifted Hearts Are Free. Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea. All lifted hearts are free. And the end of that song is peace in about 6 different languages. Shanti, Shalom, Haziti, Salam, Hewa, Dohi, Pax, Pakchomir. We sing that again and again. The song that I've chosen for the offertory this morning was one that our Zoom ensemble did maybe 3 years ago. And it's called One Voice. It was by the Waylon Jennings. The first verse says, this is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one choice. The sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. You get to the end of the song. This is the sound of all of us. Singing with love and a will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it will turn to dust. This is the song of all of us.
Well, now.
That's the way that we support the community of communities, so give generously.
voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and a will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it will turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
Thank you for your gifts to this community of communities.
Paula opened our weekend workshop with the words of American writer James Baldwin. He wrote, "The world changes according to the way people see it. And if you alter even by a millimeter the way people look at reality, then you can change it." I had a millimeter moment in 2019 while attending the Unitarian Universalist Association in the US, while attending their General Assembly in Spokane, where I shared a hotel room with Beverly. At the end of a day of sessions, we were relaxing in our room, and I wondered what was up for the evening. Beverly said she planned to stop in at the UUA Black Caucus's hospitality suite. "That sounds interesting," I said, implying I might come along. And Beverly had to explain that it was a caucus members-only event, and said briefly why that was. Now, it wasn't Beverly's job to wake me up, so later she sent me an article to read, explaining why people of color sometimes just needed a break from those of us of pallor. Now, I was taken aback at first, of course. The last place I expected to encounter what I perceived as segregation was at a UUA conference. We had principals, after all. 7, in fact, at the time, and aren't we all just one big family? Until that day, I had not really understood that even there, it was important to create spaces where people could relax and feel safe.
My view of reality changed that day. Since that time, we've journeyed through our own congregation's exploration and eventual support for the eighth principle, and I was pleased to support it, although I wondered what implementation would look like in our Hamilton First community. This weekend, I had my first real insight into what a truly inclusive congregation could look like. When Paula talked about her home congregation at All Souls in Washington, D.C., I thought, well, of course they're diverse. It is Washington, after all. But Paula explained that in the late 60s, it was a white congregation. They might be diverse now, but it was by design, not geography. We have to intentionally create the community we want to be. We have to think about how this church functions and rethink it. I brought my experience as a member, but also as someone who's been on the worship team and now the finance and climate action teams. In the breakout room with my finance committee colleagues, we talked about how some of our practices might change without violating any of our regulatory rules, of course. The key thing was the understanding that everyone in the congregation has a role to play in creating a new community that has relevance to the broader community in Hamilton. I think we're well positioned to do this work, both internally and externally. A few years ago, I mentioned to an artist that I met that I was a Unitarian, and he said, "You are good people over there." Recently, a young hairdresser said about the same thing when she asked how I spent my retirement time, and I mentioned my faith community. And on both occasions, I wondered what might bring those people into our circle. In my case, I believe that the climate crisis is forcing a major economic and social transformation. A community like ours could be of great help to our neighbors spiritually, but also in a practical sense. We could help people acquire the new skills they need to get by, or even serve as a cooling place during heat events. We have a roadmap now, and we can all together start that journey. I'm grateful to Beverly and Jamie for arranging this event. Paula Cole-Jones was truly inspirational and left me with a head full of ideas and Zoom eye strain. So.
Let's just share our gratitude for Jean Jacobs and Mary Ellen. We ended our workshop last night at 5 o'clock, so today's service was literally born overnight. Thank you, and thank you, Beverly, for your music ministry and bringing our reflections home through music. Have you heard this quote from Reverend Dr. Cornel West? "I cannot be an optimist, but I am a prisoner of hope." Have you heard this? It's curious, isn't it? This relationship between optimism and hope. And it's been with me all weekend as we've engaged, deepened, and expanded our learnings and understandings around the possibilities for the eighth principle to transform Unitarian Universalist congregations into multicultural, multi-generational, beloved communities that we are called and longing to be. It's an existential posture, this hope. It dismisses the sentimental and the performative optimism and claims a way of being that is alive with expectancy in a world that imagines the future as good and just. It is a hope that is resonant with trust and anticipation, and it invites new possibilities into the world. I am a prisoner of hope, and maybe you are too. Sometimes when I share how excited I am about Unitarian Universalism and our future, I get met with curious smiles and a little bit of side eyes as people quietly wonder if I'm living in reality. I mean, certainly, given the fact that religious communities are shrinking across North America and the world is feeling less compelled to spend time at places of worship, we all might pause a bit. Pile on top of that the very real demographics many of our organizations and institutions are facing, and it would feel easy, and it would be easy to feel less than hopeful, less than even optimistic. In fact, it might be easy to just walk away. But as a prisoner of hope, I notice our communities a bit differently. And I notice this community differently. You are full of possibilities for the future. You are eager and hungry to meet a new world. You are ready to do the work of change that leads to transformation. And this was an important aha moment for me this weekend, recognizing that transformation is where we are headed, and recognizing that transformation is where we are headed, and that change, small and large changes operationalized over time every day, is what leads us to the beloved community. Transformation is the result. I am a prisoner of hope. And let me share with you what I witnessed this weekend in our workshop with Dr. Paula Cole-Jones as we discussed how to implement the call of the eighth principle to change our communities into places of radical inclusion and belonging. I witnessed courage to tell the truth and ask hard questions. I witnessed deep listening and openness to change. I witnessed a longing for shared decision-making. I heard and felt the excitement about creating more community among us. I witnessed an imagination for new ways of relating to each other and our future. I heard, witnessed, and experienced a willingness to learn, to embrace the tools and instruments of change that will lead us to the transformation we crave. I remain a prisoner of hope, a hope that invites me to believe in miracles and the promises and possibilities of a future in which Unitarian Universalism is leading the way to the beloved community. There is no other choice for me other than to hold up that vision with you. My charge for this service this morning was to craft a call to action. And the call today is one that invites all of us to renew our commitment to hope. Hope can be hard to find sometimes. It requires us to renew it, to infuse our community with trust and expectancy. Time and time again, First Hamilton has arrived at the crossroads of change and made the choice to grow, to be transformed. My charge to you today is to keep learning, and experimenting with change, even if you can't yet see the outcome. Have faith. My charge to you today is to celebrate relationships and keep inviting new friends along the way, trusting the journey. The community of communities is a big tent with multiplicity of relationships and connections and ways of belonging inside. Know that you are the community the world needs, and the future is waiting for you. As I was reflecting last night, holding these words of Dr. West, recognizing my own imprisonment inside hope, I remembered these words from poet Adrienne Rich. My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who age after age perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. This is my charge to you in the wake of this deep and powerful learning, this time of change and transformation. We are becoming the beloved community. May it be so, and blessed be. I invite us to rise, to sing Song 1030, Siyahamba. The words will appear right behind me, and they are in your teal hymnal if you are still clutching your teal hymnal.
So those of you who have a teal hymnal are probably quaking in your boots right now. You see these Swahili lyrics and you go, maybe not. Zulu? Sorry, I thought it was, that's right, South African. So yes, so Zulu. So what we're gonna do with this hymn, Catherine and I are gonna sing the Zulu lyrics, so you don't have to worry about that. Then we'll sing the first verse, which is we're marching in the light of God. The next one we will do, we are singing in the light of God, and then dancing in the light of God, and then we'll go back to the beginning to marching. Get ready to bounce. We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching, we are marching, we are marching, we are marching. We are marching in the light of God. We are marching, we are marching, we are marching, we are marching. We are marching in the light of God. Singing, we are singing in the light of God. 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 We are singing, we are singing, we are singing, oh, we are singing in the light of God. We are singing, we are singing.
singing, we are singing, we are singing in the light of God. We are dancing 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 in the light of God. We are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing in the light of God. We are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing in the light.
We'll go back to marching.
We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching, we are marching, we are marching, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching, we are marching, we are marching, we are marching in the light of God.
Beloveds, may you be renewed in spirit by our time together this morning, renewed in hope, eager and ready to create and celebrate the beloved community as we shape it and become it every day with our actions, words, deeds, and love. May this community of radical belonging hold you and keep you all the days ahead. Go in peace.
We have gone over time, but in the sense of working towards inclusivity, I think we need to include some extra time this morning. And we're going to be singing a song that you know, but I'm going to ask you to only sing the recurrent line because I've taken some words from the service to bring into the song. It's "We are a gentle, angry people," so you can sing that. And also, and we are singing for all lives, not our lives. And then you'll see I'm bringing in some other phrases. And the last line will be, "We are a gentle, loving people," so that Rachel knows that we're finishing that. Okay. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for all lives. We make room for all together, and we are singing, singing for all lives. We are communities together, and we are singing, singing for all lives. We widen hearts and minds together, and we are singing, singing for all lives. We sing, all of us together, and we are singing, singing for all lives. Color and pallor together, and we are singing, singing for all lives. We're prisoners of hope together, and we are singing, singing for all lives. We are a gentle,
that got me right in the feels. We extinguish this chalice, but not the fire in our hearts until we meet again.